Okay, so good evening, everybody. So we are going to continue again from where we stopped. So today is the 13th, and if you have been following us through, you would have noticed that we've almost covered everything on this file, right? We started from the logical function, we looked at the if, we looked at the and, we looked at the or function, right? Both of them are logical, and we're able to see them by ourselves, right? So apart from this logical function, we also look at the text function where we were able to learn concatenate. Now, there are some things that we did not learn here, though we didn't look at exact, we didn't look at substitute, we didn't look at this other function as well. So probably we are still going to see that along the way. Then the next thing we looked at extensively is the lookup function. Yesterday, we've been able to look at HLOOKUP. There's also an assignment I gave us that we had to do together in the class, believing that when I look at the complexity of the assignment, I just knew that we couldn't actually do it ourselves. So I had to like step in. We looked at the HLOOKUP extensively. If you are still having any doubt about the HLOOKUP, you don't know how to handle it, you don't know how to go about it, kindly visit the YouTube channel and you're going to see the recorded classes. So the HLOOKUP, we've done it. We look at the VLOOKUP. Now the match, the index, we've not checked it also. So those are other things that we're still going to look at. We've not looked at, exact, substitute, rept. We've also not looked at match and index. So we went further. We also looked at all these dates in the class. We've looked at the dates. We look at today. We look at now. We look at network days, network days, and so on. We look at average, count, counter, count ifs. We didn't look at cover. Then max is simple. Minimal is also simple. So we look at the statistical function. We've also looked at the mathematical function or the mass function, where you talk about product. So when you're talking about product, it's just like the normal this times this, you're going to get the product and all that. Then all these ones, you're rounding off. We are rounding off and all that. Then we looked at the sum, look at the sum if, then we also look at the sum total. So basically, we've almost covered everything on this lecture material. However, there are some certain areas that we've not looked at, which we still delve into. So let's quickly move straight to where, so there are certain things I also promised us in the lecture that I was still going to touch. One of it is how to protect your cells. Okay, how to protect your cells, how to protect the entire sheet, how to protect same section, okay, then different section protection, entire sheet protection. Then that is that. So we looked at other things. We looked at linking our workbook or linking some tables or some sheets to some of our files. We look at that. I also remember telling us that I was also going to take us on there's this, I'm trying to remember what I said I was going to take us. So if you want to print out your work, right? You want to print out your work, how to be able to adjust the pages that your work is going to come out like, then how to also set the headings in case you want to have you want to number your pages. We're also still going to look at that. So other than that, we've done every other thing except for also what we encountered yesterday that I said I will still come back to take us that. And what was that? We looked at so advanced filter options. I told us I was still going to come back to take us that, because when we're looking at that network field, then also that data validation, I said I was also going to come to still undo that. So those are certain things that I will need us to also remind me later. So today we are going to start now from pivot table. So they normally call it pivot table. For those of you that call it pivot, that is Nigerian English. So it's always called pivot table. So we're going to start from the pivot table, and we're going to look at how do we get the pivot table. Most times you discover that you are trying to sort. I've shown us how to sort. I also showed us like how to also use the sum if. The sum if is very, very important. And We will also go further. Now, when you are learning all these things, you want to also learn how to nest each of these formula. So there are times that you want to achieve a certain goal, but just applying one layer of formula may not actually work for you. So most times we always use the if. The if function enables us to make statements, so you can continue to make as many statements as possible until you're able to generate, to gather information that you want to get, or get the result, the desired result they're looking for. So I'm going to show us also when you have bank statement, right? The first thing is that when you have a bank statement, how do you generate a trial balance from that bank statement? So now you know that trial balance is like list of ledger balances. So how do you actually get a trial balance from the bank statement? We're going to look at it in this lecture. Then let's try to look at pivot table. When you have pivot table, you are also trying to sort. You are trying to sort. You are going to see data. Let's have a look at it. So here we have an example of what a pivot table should look like. So let me come to the side of this sheet. I think it's not this file. There's another file I'm looking for. Pivot table. Okay, yeah. I think this should be it. Yeah, so this is it now. So if you look at this file, right, we have some data. We have order date, we have product number, we have category, we have amount. So most times when you're trying to like sort, you are trying to like, you can say, okay, sort by product name. So you always sort with like text and value. You are sorting by text and value. You want to say, okay, by category, okay, by category and by value. So let's check what we have in this description box. Let me quickly come to the right. So in the right hand side of this box, they say that creating a pivot table. How do you get it? To create a pivot table, simply open the worksheet that contains the data list you want to summarize. You want summarized, sorry, by the pivot table. So this data list now, I want to summarize it by the pivot table. Then position the cell cursor somewhere in the cell of the list. Then click insert. Click the insert tab. So the first thing you want to do is that you want to identify the data that you want to work on. Then the next thing is that put your cursor anywhere in the data. Then you now go to the insert tab. When you go to the insert tab, then what else are you going to do? So in the table section, you're going to see down here you have recommended pivot table, right? But before we do that, let's continue with the description or the narration. So here they told us that simply open the worksheet that contains the data list you want summarized by the pivot table. Okay, the next one, position the cell cursor somewhere in the cells of the list. The next one, click the insert tab. Then from the table groups, click on pivot table. From the create pivot table dialog box, click OK. Then as a note, drag what you intend to evaluate into the values. What you intend to evaluate, drag it into the values, e.g., you want to evaluate the count, want to evaluate the sum, the amount, and so on and so forth. So when we come here, and when we want to get value, we are going to use where we know that we have figures. So we have figures here. This is amount, right? So if you want to get value, there's this thing that you're going to drag, either the amount, okay, to get the value. Then if you want to also summarize by, and then the next thing, okay, and the names of the column into the row labels. So there are row labels, right? There are row labels which are going to put so it's like columns, the names of the column will go into the row labels, while the value goes into there's a place where you drag the value to. So the value is going to be that places where you have numbers. For instance, when we're talking about value, here we are seeing value here. So we are seeing 1,400, we are seeing 105, and so on and so forth. So let's come here. We come over here. Then when you click into the area where the data is, the next thing you want to do is you want to go to the insert tab. when you go to the insert tab, right, where you have your tables, right? So yeah, you can see tables. We can also see to the right, we have to the left-hand side, we have pivot table. But before I do that, let me also confirm that this thing is being recorded. So let me check. Are we on the, yeah, so it's being recorded. So on that area, let me go back to the file. So we have our cursor here already. Then you come to the insert tab. From the insert tab, go to the left-hand side, you will see pivot table. So click on it. Now, when you click on it, it's going to tell you that choose the data that you want to analyze. So the data has been selected on its own based on the fact that we actually clicked into this where the data is. So on its own, you can see matching ants, something that look like ants, matching ants. They are all around this data, right? To show that all the data have been well captured. So all this is, they call them matching ants. So let me type, now I don't need to type it. If I type away, it's going to click somewhere else. So all this is at the matching ants. They've selected the whole area that we want to use. Then the next thing is that we are saying that, so yeah, it's going to ask you, do you want to use external data source? I'm not sure. Then use this worksheet data mode. So just leave, don't click anywhere. Then you say, choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. Do you want it to be placed in a new worksheet, or do you want it to be placed to exist into existing worksheet? So obviously, it's better we put it on a new worksheet. So when we click on that, everything has been selected for us. All the area where data is has been selected for us. The next thing we want to do, wants to say OK. When I click on OK, automatically it comes here. Now, what do you want to do now? So you can see that at the top, you are having all these information. At the top, you're having all this information. So what you want to do is you want to use this thing to get an information. So what do you want to do? They say where you have value, right? At the bottom here, we have value, right? So you need to drag amount. Let's drag amount, and let's go and put it inside value. Okay, so you can see this it has summed the total amount. Like the total amount you have is this value. So then let's also try something else. Let's say we want to get the numbers of months. We drag this one also. We come and put it under the rows. Okay. So yeah, now when I say okay, we want to get information. We want to get what is the sum of or it could be sales that we made, right? It could be sales that we made. So we're saying that, okay, for each of the month, what is the sum of all the values, right? If it's not sum we want to get, you can also click on this drop down, okay? From the drop down, you can see move to report filter, whatever. So let's leave that. So now, what I just want to say is that, what I just want to say, click on it, it will appear again. So what I just want to say is that when you are trying to get a report, you are trying to get, the most important thing in this report is that we have the figures, right? We also have some information. So let's go back to that information. Let's go back to pivot table. So if you come to this pivot table, right, you're going to see we can sort by, okay, so we have the dates. So this date now is what is going to be representing the month, right? So the date now, they gave us some dates right over here, which we can say we want to sort by the date. And that thing is I want to sort by product name. You want to say, okay, what is the total beer that was sold? So instead of us going to go and do that sum if that we are doing, we can quickly use pivot table and we're going to get the same answer. If we also want to sort, we want to say, okay, but to get your answer correctly, make sure that anything that has to do with the number, anything that has to be the number, whether it is amount you put here or whether it is whatever total you put here that has to do with the numbers, you always put them inside where the value is. So we come back to this our pivot table, you will discover that inside the value box we put amount, because we know that is under amount that we have what's it called? It's under amount that we have numbers. So numbers will always go under values, right? While any other thing can go into the row, okay? Any other thing can go into the row. So here it means that here we are going to have value here. These are the values. Why we now say, okay, how much, what is this, the total amount for January, for instance? You can easily see that. What is the total amount for February? You can see that. What's the total amount for March? You can see that. Then let's also say that we also want to try something else. Let's say for the column, let's put category. Let's just drag category into the column. Let's see what happens. Okay, so category now. So we're now checking that. Okay, for January, like we are using. Let me go back to that sheet. Let's go back to the sheet. So on our category list, we are having beverages, we are having dried fruit. So it means that we are trying to say, okay, in January, how many, which of these products was sold in January? What is the summation? What is the total product that was sold in January? So it's going to come and check all the dried fruit and nuts. How many of these fall into January? How many of it fall into February? So it's going to come and check like that. So that gives us a very quicker report. So let's go back to it and let's see what we have. Then I can now unmute our mic so that we can ask questions. You can see that for the whole of January, let me click away. For the whole of January, you can see that all these products, they are what is spread abroad about like this. So we also are getting the report based on the different months that we have in that year, right? We're also trying to get the amount, the value that they actually sold there. So here it's now giving us the grand total for all the sales that they made in January. So in January, it means that in January we have these baked food and mix was done in January. These beverages was also done in January. Yes. What else was done in January? This dried fruit and nut was also done in January. So at the end of the day, it sum everything together to know everything that was done in January. And then we're having our answer to be this 3,836. Then in February, which of these products did we also sell? Let's assume it's a sales figure. In February, we sold this as well. We also sold candy. Then we sold, what else did we sell in February? Yes, I think we sold something like this stuff. Yeah, so we sold, where am I? Okay, I think I'm here. So we sold, okay, what is this showing? I can drop down. Okay, so we also sold this, right? And all that. So those are the things that we sold. And at the end of the day, it added everything that was done in February. So in order for you not to make any mistake, let me tell you again, the most important thing to note is this. When you see any data like this, to activate your pivot table, first of all, go to the data where you have that data. Once I've clicked on the data, then you now go to your insert. When you click on insert, right, you come to the end, the left-hand side, click on pivot table. Then the next thing is that you see that here it is going to tell you the data range. So the data range that is being selected. So and you will also see beside all the data, you see that there's a matching ant that is surrounding the data, like the way ants used to surround sugar. So you see all this matching ants surrounding the data as if the data is sugar that they want to consume. So once you've gotten that, then you can now decide, do you want to create this pivot table on another worksheet, or do you want to create it on an existing worksheet? So obviously, creating it on a new worksheet was what we picked the other time, and we add it over here. So let me cancel this. I cancel this away. Then we now come to what we selected. So we have to click it on another worksheet. So you see what we did. We now said, okay, when you click on this place now, the thing will come up. And I told us that anytime you have a pivot table field like this, right? When you have a pivot table field like this, you're going to see what it's going to give you like 4 categories. You're going to see role. Now you already obviously know what the role is. Role is like this. Role is like this. Role. These are the roles, right? These are the roles, right? So that is the role. So for the role, you can select anything for the role. But you see for the value, make sure is the numbers. If you come here, you see that the numbers here at the end of, at the top of it, we have amount, right? So that is what we selected for the values. Okay, for value, always select amount. Where the number is, select it for your this thing. Then for the other thing, you can select any other thing. So let's come back to this place. Let's come back to this place. So that is why I put for the value here, I came and put the amount here. Why for the role, you can pick anything. So for the role again, let's also pick another thing. Let's say you want to get product name again. Product name. So let's see what's happening. I click away. Okay, so can I click away at all? Yeah. So I click away. Then we now check now. So now it's now sorting it now, not only by, it's not only sorting it by the, it's not only sorting it by the category any longer. It's also sorting it by the product name. Okay. In January, here are all the products. Northwind Traders Beer. Let's go back to that table. Let's go back to that table. So you can see here are the product name. Here are the categories. So if you want to check for this, our dried fruit and nuts, you see that dried fruit and nut was sold in all these places, right? So apart from us using category, we can also use product name, right? And then, so we are using all the 4 category, the amount, the category, the product name, the order date, and that is what we are using actually. So we've come back over here, you will discover that when I click here, under the role, right? Under the role, anything you drag into the role is going to appear here. If where the roles are at the beginning, it's going to start here. This is what the role is. Yeah, the roles, right? It's going to appear over here. Anything you put for what is it called? For columns, obviously it's going to stay on the column aspect. So it's exactly the way our Excel is formatted. We know that column is actually the number, sorry, the alphabet. Those are the columns. So whatever you want to stay at the top is what you drag into the column. Whatever you want to stay at the row is what you drag into the row section. Then the amount, most of the time, the number, let it always be inside the value. And if you can do that, you don't have any problem at all. So let's now do something else. What have we done? We've done, okay, we have used all of them. We have used all of them. Then the next thing we can now use, let's now sort it by the year. We can now drag year into the filter and let's see what happens. So I'll now come here, I'll click away from here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I click away and let's see what happens now. Okay, so this is January. Then you want to filter. Are we using this filter? Undo. Okay, so those are the beverages. Then, okay, at the top here now, at the top here now, this is where you are going to now say, okay, give me only information for, let's say, you can say, okay, give me only information for only this date. Then you click on OK. So they say select multiple items. So you can say, give me information for only this date. Then you click on OK, and you're going to get only that information. So you can sort by anything. We can say, okay, let's sort by year. But obviously, I think everything here, they are all in 2020, 2000. Is this 2006? I think so. Yes, they are all 2006. If you come here, you check. You see that everything is 2006. So that's why everything is 2006. We cannot sort it by that. So most of the time, under your pivot table, you are likely going to see 4 sections. So whatever you want to appear at the column, the column, whatever you want to appear at the column, drag that thing into the column box. Whatever you want to appear in the row, drag it and put it into the row, right? So that is that. Then whatever you want to appear in the value, drag it and put it into the value. So most times what will be inside the value will either be like the numbers that you actually have, probably the numbers that you actually have, the sales figure, and so on and so forth. So with this, we have been able to do our pivot table. So it's left for us to now ask questions if we actually understand this or we don't understand it. So you can see here now, at the end of the day, it's summing all these things for us like this. These plus all this, you have your sum at the bottom. You have the sum at the bottom, and the amount is giving us 982. So you can see what it is. It's sum this like this. It's also still going to sum it from here like this. It's still going to sum it like this, like this, like this. Okay, so this is it. So now we're not sorting it now by, apart from all sorting it by the category, we're also sorting it by the product type, and that is what we did over there. So let me unmute our mics. Let me get what we want to say so that I can know whether you understand it or I need to explain it further. So let us have our mic. Okay, so your microphone is on. Does anybody have any question regarding what we did, or do we need to do another one again? Let's try another one, or are we okay with this? Or should we try another one again so that we can understand it more? Hello, any question?
Please, let's try another one.
Okay, so let's come to this one that we have here. So this is a pivot practice. Okay, yeah, so this has been done. Let me see. Okay, so let me click on this place. It also show me. How am I not seeing the pivot table? Normally, if you click here, you see the pivot table. Okay, let me come here, insert, and this is graded out. Okay. Label. So okay. I'm coming. I'm looking for the data we are using. Okay. I'm looking for a data to use. Okay, I think this is the same data that they are using for all these things. Let's check for pivot table 2. Okay, yeah. So let's look at this data now. This is a bigger data. So this is the data now. Here we have names. We can decide that, okay, we want to sort by names. We want to sort by department. We want to sort by, so all these ones now, these are values. So when you see where they are numbers, you know that you are talking about value. So for the value, you are either going to pick any of these for the value, right? All these ones will go into the value box. That means that only these two will go into either the row or the column. But for the value, these guys goes into the value. So what if you want to create a pivot table, this is what we need to do. First of all, click on the data, right? When you click on the data, then go to insert. When you go to the insert, then you go to the left-hand side, you see a pivot table. Click on that pivot table. Now, if you click on the pivot table, automatically, pivot table will guess where your data are and go and they'll, select the data range. That data, you're going to select it. You see something like ant that is moving. You see all these things are moving like ant. So this is they call it matching ant. Ant that is matching. So matching ant, you can see is moving. You can see it moving down like that. So these are the matching ant. So once the area that you want to be selected has been selected and you are sure that, okay, everything is fine, the next thing you want to do is that you want to now check here. Do you want this information to be displayed in another box? Maybe you want your report to be in another box, in another sheet, in another worksheet, or you want your information to be in the same worksheet, like in an existing worksheet. Okay, so most of the time, let's use new worksheet. Okay, most of the time. So don't forget that when we talk about values, when we talk about numbers, all these union, what's it called? I'm coming. Union. I'm coming to. Yeah, so you can see that this union dues, tax, allowance, overtime, basic pay, they are all numbers. So this we go, you can use any of them to sort, like put it inside the value box. Then anywhere you have all these letters, right? All these text, this can go into either the column or can go into the row, right? So that's how we do that. But when you talk about value, anyone that have numbers should always go into the value box. Then there is also this number here, but this one is not significant because we are not using it for any of the report. So let's cancel out and let's try it again. So I click here, then I go to my insert tab. Once I click on my insert tab, I go to the left hand side, the last end, you see pivot table. Click on it. When you click on it, then the next you want to do is you check as if did it select the right thing that you're looking for, and obviously it actually selected the right thing that you're looking for. Then the next thing is that check here. They say it's going to give you a report in a new worksheet, and it's fine. Let's click on OK. When you click on OK, we are now in a new worksheet. Now it now gave us all the possible things that we can do. So the possibility that we can do is that we can say, okay, here we have names, we have department. Now we have basic pay, we have overtime, we have allowance, we have tax, we have union due. And we know that all these basic pay, all this overtime, all of them, they are figures, right? So I told you anywhere there are figures, where there are numbers, you can always drag that into the value box. So you can just say, okay, I want to sort by the basic pay. How much basic pay did we give these people? So how much is the total basic pay? You can see the total basic pay. So I want to sort this basic pay by department. How much did we pay each department? Okay, so we are checking the basic pay. Okay, what is the basic pay of each department? So now click on the department, right? This will go ahead. You drag it and drop it inside the role. Okay, you can see that now we have H is department. This is the amount we pay them as basic pay. HR department, this is the amount we pay them. Medicals, this amount we pay them. And PGPA, this is the amount that we pay them as their basic pay. Okay, so what if we now say that apart from us checking by basic pay, we also want to know at the side, we want to know how much tax did we pay for them. You also click on the tax. Remember, you are still placing it inside the value because it's a value. Place it inside the value. So you can see now at the side, we are not seeing the tax that we paid. So for HE department, this is the total tax that we paid for them. For HR department, this is the total tax that we paid for them. Fine. Then we can also say that let's also now check for how much overtime did they do. You can now click on overtime, we drag it and come and put it inside the value box again. So in the value box, you can see that, okay, these people, this is the overtime that we pay to the HR department. You can see that this is total overtime we pay to the HR department. The medical department, this is the total overtime. The PGPA, this is the total overtime we pay them. Then we still have another figure. Let's say what is the allowance that we pay them. Also come and click the allowance and come and still drag it here. You can see now anywhere there is figure, I told us you can never make mistake if you follow my leading. Anywhere you have figure, which is numbers, and those numbers are what you can use for reports. I'm not talking about serial number. I'm talking about numbers that you can use for reports. Wherever you have those numbers, you always drop them into the values. You drag them and put them into the values, and then it's going to generate information for you. Then where you have text, right, like the heading of the columns, right? So you can either pick any of them and you can put them into the column box. You can put them into the column box as well. So here now, this is value. Here also under the column, we see our value here because so here now we are having your value, and so let's now say we also want to now use let's say we want to now sort this thing by names. Let's say we want to sort it by name. We now come here, we now click here, we now come and put it here. Like we want to filter it by name. So when you want to filter something by name, that filter will always be at the top. So here now is reporting for all names. So let's now filter it by, okay, let's say we only want to see for, let's say we want to see for only Adeniji Jamiu. We now click on OK. Now you can see only Adeniji. Adeniji now is in this department, HE's department. This is his basic salary. This is tax that we paid for him. This is the overtime, and this is his allowance that we paid for him. So let's also see go and filter again. Let's say we want to get only, let me say, you can also select multiple items. You can select multiple items actually. So you click here to select multiple items. Okay, so you just say, okay, I want to check for this guy. I also want to check for Adigun Moses. I have to check for Akban. I have to check for um Alan Bruce. I have to check for those three people, right? So you can select, you can actually select multiple things, right? Akban as well, and then this Alan Bruce, you want to check for him as well. You now click on OK. Then you can see now it has given us information about those people. So each of them are in different department, but we cannot not actually pinpoint each of them. So I think it's better we do it one after the other so that we can see that okay, this guy, yeah, because yeah, how many people do you select? 1, 2, 3, 4. We selected 4 people. So let's unselect some. Let's unselect some and let's click on OK. Okay, so this guy is in medical. Alan Bruce is in medical, and so on and so forth. So unmute your mic now. Let's dialogue. Let's know whether you understand this thing. Let's understand whether you understand what I just did. We use this data. This is data that we use. When you come to any data like that, you can say, okay, I want to get the tax that the HR department that we paid for HR department. It's very simple. I want to get the tax that we pay for. So the question to ask yourself is that where will we see HR? HR is a department, right? Then the tax is a figure. Simple. Just drag this tax into the value box, then drag department. You can drag department into the row box. Then you can also drag department into the filter box. Then go and filter. Because if you drag department into the row box, it's going to give you all the departments, right? And it's going to tell you that, okay, department so and so, this is what department so and so do. So you can also still go and filter by department to know HR department alone. How much tax did we pay for them? So let's try that. We come and click here. Once you click here, then you now come to this, your inserts. When it comes to your inserts, go to this place where you have pivot table. Once you go to pivot table, you are going to see matching hands, selecting the data that you want to use. Once you see matching and selecting the data you want to use, the next thing you want to do is that you want to say, okay, here it's telling you that you want it to be created on a new worksheet, which is fine. Click on OK. Once you click on OK, then you have a new worksheet. So we are saying now we want to get the HR department. Maybe they ask you, the HR department, how much tax did we pay them? So you know that HR is going to be under department. HR is not name. It's not the name of somebody. It is actually department. So we just say, okay, is their tax we want to get. So tax is a value. Click on the tax, drag it into the value box. Okay, that is the total tax that they actually pay. Then we want to get HR department. So we can say, okay, you can also use name. Let's come and say, want to use name. We drag name into the row. We drag them into the row. So it gives us the tax of each person. How much tax did each person pay? So you can see the tax that we paid for each person. Then the next thing is that we want to now filter all these things. We want to filter it by department so that we now say, okay, we only want the names of people that are in HR department. We now come to department, we now drag it and drop it into the filter box. So now you now come to the top. You see that department, you are filtering by department, right? So you can now come to the top now and now press this drop down button and say, I only want for HR department. Once you select HR department, you click on OK. And here are the people that are in HR department. And this is the tax that they pay. You can also say, no, I don't want HR department. I want medical department. So click on medical department, click on OK. It's going to give you the names of everybody under medical department and also the tax that they pay. So you can see that this pivot table is a very wonderful tool that you cannot afford not to know as an accountant. If you are an accountant and you don't know how to use pivot table, it means that you're going to be doing a lot of manual work. You're going to be doing a lot of manual tasks that it will take you so long to be able to achieve all those things. So you discover that if you want to get all these things, we can actually get it, right? But we might need to start using probably want to start using what's it called now? Want to start using maybe SUMIF, for instance. Want to start using, because here we are getting the sum of all the taxes, right? So maybe you want to use SUMIF. Then you also want to now manually go and list all the names. So you can say that here now this one it's not only sorting by names, right? It's also filtering by the department that they have, and it's also giving us the sum of the places. So you can do multiple things. Let's say you don't want only the tax that they paid for this medical team. We also want to get what is their basic salary. Just drag their basic salary because basic salary is value. Drag basic salary and come and drop it under value. Drop it under value. You can see that, okay, yeah, now this is their tax that they pay. This is their basic salary. So another thing you can do is that let's move this thing. Let's change position. Let's change position. We drag it here. Yeah, we change position. So what I just did is I just drag from where it is. I just take it. So I'm dragging. I can change position. I can just drag this one. I come and put it at the bottom. It changes position. Let's assume I want to say that, okay, I want basic salary to show first before we now say, okay, we are paying this tax on that basic salary. So I'll just carry the tax, carry it and drag it and come and place it under the basic salary. Okay, and obviously you can see that the change is also being affected over here. So let's unmute our mic, unmute your mic, unmute your mic. Let's be sure that we've gotten this thing. Unmute your mic. A lot of people are leaving the call. Probably it's difficult for them to understand it. But with that, we are on the call. Let's unmute our mic and let's ask questions. Or do you understand it? Have you gotten it? Is it difficult?
It's clear.
This one
It's
is
clear.
straightforward. It's straightforward. Thank you, sir.
Okay, it's clear. Thank you. So they say it's clear. That's great. So it's straightforward. So for you to just know what you are putting into the value, okay, just know what you are putting into the value. Then also now just so that anything you put into the row will be listed on the row. All these are rows now. They are listed on the row. But if you want anything to be on the column, you see that it will be appearing like this. So let's say we want to now drag something to the column. Don't forget that anything that has numbers, you're going to place them into the value box. Don't make that mistake of going to put them either under the row or under the column. So it's only things that are text that you can put either under the row or the column or the filter handle. So anything that is a text, use it into the column handle, into the row or into the filter. But anything that has value, they all go into the value box. So let's now say that we want in our, from the, what's it called? We also want to see department on the column. So we now put here, department on the column. So you can see now, here now, you can see here, you're saying that for HE, this guy is not actually in HE department, he's actually in HR. You can see that he's reporting under HR, right? He's in HR department. Then the next guy, this Agun Moses, is not in HE department, he's not in HR, he's actually in medical. Then this Akpan Jimo is in HR. You can see that. So it's also going to be giving you all the different people and the different department that they have. And also it's going to give you the basic salary of those people, summation of the people that fall into either this place, right? So we're going to see them and all that. So that's how we're able to gather the information that we actually needed. Okay, that's how we're able to gather the information. That means this GMO now, from the look of things, this GMO is not only in HR department, I think it's also in, is it in HE or HR department is 2? I can see okay, medical, okay, so it's like twice. Based on, let me also check whether there's dates there. Let me check. Let me check. Is there dates? There's no date, but it is what it is, man. Okay, so let's now move on to pivot table 3. So this is another data. So in this data, we are seeing location, we are seeing salary, we are seeing the date we hired the person. So obviously we know that this is date, right? We are seeing the date we hired the person, we are seeing the year of service, we are seeing location, we are seeing salary, we are seeing department, we are seeing gender, right? What else are we seeing? We are seeing last name, we are seeing first name, we are seeing ID number. So now you know that when you are talking about value, You can't go and place ID number into value because ID number cannot be summed. When you add ID number together, it doesn't make sense. Like, okay, you're adding the ID number of Joy, you're adding into the ID number of Larry. What result would you want to achieve from that? So it's not going to, don't just say because I say enter you see value, you just gonna put the value into the value position. No, you must check what kind of value is it. This value that we have now, will it make sense if we go and add this value together? Will it give us any meaningful report? No, you cannot add ID number together. It will not give you any meaningful report. So anytime you want to put anything to the value, put something that you know that can be added. For instance, salary, you can add the salary of people that, okay, how much salary did you actually pay? You can add it together, right? To know the total salary that you paid for so department. If you look at the date I had, this is a date, and you're looking like a number as well. You cannot also add dates together. It does not give you any meaningful report. Then the number, the year of service. I'm not sure there's need to also add the year of service because you cannot say, okay, you're adding the year of service of Joy, not to add it to the year of service of Daily. It doesn't make any sense, right? So when you are using those data, you must know data that you can put into the value box. You can also know data that you can use to sort. Like you want to go and filter now, to filter, you can go and filter by the date you hired the person. So, okay, let's look at who are the people that we hired from so date. You can filter by date, right? You can filter by gender, right? You can filter by gender. Then, is there anything you can even do with ID? Okay, you can use ID. You can put ID in the rows. Like, okay, all this ID. How much do we pay for the people that owns this ID? You can put them in the rows and all that. ID, I'm not sure you should put ID in the column, but you can also put ID in the column because obviously that ID is not something that can be summed together. So let's go and try what we want to do. So we click here where this thing is, right? When we click here, then we now go to our insert. I'll click on insert. Then we come to the left, we click on pivot table. Then you see that there's a matching hand around your data automatically. As far as you click anywhere in where the data is, you see that a matching hand is actually surrounding your data. Then the next thing you want to do, you want to click on, it's going to go into a new worksheet. It's fine. Click on OK. And here we go. We are now in a new worksheet. So what do you want to do? Now, we've already said that only things that are numbers that can be added is what you put in the value box. So let's go and check what can be added. Okay. We know that number one, ID number, it cannot be added. So we can put that inside the role. Want to see by ID, who are the people, who are these people and what did you pay them? You can sort by ID name. You can also put these names, first name and last name. You can also put them inside the role, first name. Okay, so you can also put last name. Okay, that's the last name. Let's put first name also. First name. Okay, so we have Zubia Janet. So it's not showing us the ID of Janet. It's also showing us the first name and the last name of those people. Then the next thing is that you want to now say the only value that can be added is salary. So put salary under the value box. Fine. So put salary under the value box. Then the next thing we want to do is I want to say the date that we hire them, or do we want their location? Let's say that I want to get their location. We can also drop it under the role. Okay, so we can say that okay. So this is the. So you can quickly come here. So you can come here. You can also still filter by the ID number. You can filter by the ID number. Just like I said, the ID number can be used for filtering. So you can do that. So here now we have all this ID number. Okay, you can also decide that you want to, let me check if you can filter by, is it the last name? Yeah, so you can also filter by the last name. Then the next thing is that you can also say you want to filter by the location, which is Xcarve. If you click on location, you come to this drop down, you can see that the location is selected. Let's say you want to only see people that are in Lekki. So let's select all. When we unselect all, we now click on only Lekki. When I click on only Lekki, we can say okay. Then we can see only the people that are in Lekki. So these are the people that are in Lekki. So it's going to give us their first name. Apart from their ID number, it's going to give us their first name, their last name, and also their location. All these people are in Lekki, and this is the sum of their salary. So then you can also further say you want to now filter. So this is one level of filter, right? This level of filter allows you to filter with all the things that you put on the rows. Now, because the rows now you put 3 things, that's why you can either sort by any of them. Either you want to sort by the last name, you want to sort by the ID number, or you want to sort by location. All you need to do is that just select, if it's by ID number you want to select on the ID number first. When you click on the ID number first, if you click on the ID number, then you come to the drop down, you discover that the ID number you can sort by the ID number, okay, or filter by the ID number. Then if it's last name you want to use or location, just click on where the last name is, right? Go to the heading. You can also see this funnel telling you that you can actually sort by, saying that you can actually sort by, okay, let's say last name. Okay, let's sort by last name. You click on it, then you come to this place and come and check. You see that all the last name are here. You can select everything, and let's say you only want to see Deborah. Somebody that has last name of Deborah, you click on OK. Then you see that Deborah, why is it not showing Deborah here now? What's going on? Okay. So let's undo, Ctrl V. Okay, so that's that. So basically, that is that. So anytime you want it to disappear, click away from this box, and then what is it called will disappear. If you want it to show again, click on the box, and then it shows again, right? So the last thing I want to do, let's now go and filter again. Let's add another layer of filter. Let's say we want to now filter them by gender. We now come and click on gender. We drag it into the filter box. So at the top, you see something will appear at the top as filter. Okay, at the top now, we have now filtering by gender. So now it's all of them that is selected. Let's now filter it by gender. Let's say we want to see only females, right? Let's say we want to see only females. We want to select on females, Hey, you select on females. You now click on OK. You see, all these people are the only female that we have. We have Okoro, OK. We have Atta, Miriam, okay? All these are the females, and so on and so forth. I want to believe that we all understand this. I want to believe that we are going to continue to try. We're going to continue to practicalize everything that we've learned in this training, and this training will become very, very instrumental in our growth. Okay. So let's look at exact, right? What is exact talking about? So exact, the function is used for text, compares two text string, and returns true if they are exactly the same. So we use exact to compare two text streams, right? And then it returns true if they are exactly the same, or it will return false if they are not exactly the same. So exact is case sensitive. Remember, exact, when you're using exact, it is case sensitive, but ignores formatting differences. Use exact to test text being entered into a document. So exact is very, very important. It is case sensitive. Don't forget, it is case sensitive. You know what case is? Small case and all that. So we can have something like this, right? You can have here, you can see we have ID. You can have ID here, you can see corrected, right? So if you check ID, right, this ID, and then over here we have the corrected whatever. So you want to check whether this thing, maybe you gave your staff, you give them an assignment to go and work on certain things. Then you now spotted some errors in those things, and you say that no, they should go and work on it, and then they come back to you with a corrected version that they've worked on it. So you, in order to be able to work smartly, right, you don't need to start doing serious work, looking at what they've done, checking. looking again, check it, looking again, check it. You want to use a formula that can actually quickly give you the desired result. So you can quickly go and use exact. So what you want to do is that you want to first of all check what they have, what they brought before, right? That you have that is wrong. You want to now check it to what they've corrected. If it's giving you true, that is the same thing, that means that they've not done anything to it, right? But if it's giving you that is not the same, then so if it's not the same, then you know that okay, fine, this stuff is actually has been worked on. Okay, so you know that it has been worked on. So let's now try something. Let's come here. Let's say equal to, right? Equal to. We now say exact. You now say exact. You open your bracket when you type your exact. Then you are comparing F3, right? You put a comma. We are comparing it to I3. So we now say F3. You go and select where F3 is. So we want to compare this. Put a comma. We want to compare it to. Oh, sorry, I didn't put a comma. So you put a comma. You want to select. You want to compare this to this, right? Once you have done that, you close your bracket and click on enter. Okay, so it's telling that okay, this stuff with this stuff is the same. That's why it's saying it's giving us true, right? Now let's now autofill this thing, autofill it to the bottom. Okay, you can see now here it's telling us that this thing that is here and this thing that is here is not the same. You might be wondering that how come it's not the same? Because it's telling us that this is false, right? And here it's telling us that this is the same, right? This is saying this and this is the same, is true, but this one and this one is not the same. Okay, so you now start wondering what could be the issue. Now, number one, they say that it is case sensitive, right? It is case sensitive, but it doesn't. To me, I don't see it as being different. It's looking the same. Now, don't also forget that at times when you are trying to, at times when you are trying to, what's the word? At times when you are trying to. When you're trying to, actually, when I get there, I'll tell us. At times you are trying to get, like you want to get, like I told us that we're going to do our bank statement. We analyze our bank statement. When we analyze our bank statement, we also want to now, from the bank statement, we want to get what we want to get a trial balance. So I'll show you what you need to do when you have a bank statement, and you are now analyze it for you to now get your trial balance, okay? Yes, your trial balance sheet, trial balance. Yes, to get a trial balance. Yes, so I'll show you all that. So you can also use this because most times when you are doing your whatever, you can be asked to actually use what's it called? You can be asked to actually use either to the best formula you'll be told to use maybe the sum if. Though we can also use pivot table, right? You can also use pivot table because we want to get balances, but the best thing you need to do is your sum if. I'm going to show us how to actually achieve that. So here, this is telling us that this thing that you see here and this thing that you see here is not the same. Because sometimes you have, let's quickly show us how to do our sum if. Don't forget that your sum if, you want to sum a certain figure, right? So you now say, okay, remember we did this together, they say equal to, we now say sum if, right? We now open our bracket. We now say, we now click on something. Let me take this away. Let's assume that we have all these things here. We have all these things here. Let me copy all these things like this. We copy all these things. Okay, no. Let's leave this one here. Let's copy this one. Right? Let's copy this one. Then we come here, we come and put it here. Now, for you feel that for instance, you feel that this item number 2 and this item number 2, you think that is the same thing, right? That's what you feel. So let's now do something. Let's now delete what is inside here. We say we do them. We'll delete everything that is inside here, right? Want to now put figure. Want to now put figure here. We'll now say here we have, let's say we have something like this, right? Okay, like this, and so on and so forth. So we want to use the sum if now. When I say, okay, equal to, when I say sum if, we open our bracket. When I say in this place that we are, right? We put a bracket. If you see this place that we have, then you see this stuff there. Then it's not a comma. Then go and sum what is here. Okay, go and sum what is here. We now close our bracket. We click on enter. So automatically now you can see it quickly got what is here for us because it's correct. So let's now autofill this one now. Let's autofill it. We discover that here is not giving us this information. Why? Because here it could not match this one. This thing told us that this thing was actually false the other time, and we are also seeing that truly this thing that is here and this thing is not the same thing. As if it's the same thing, we would have picked the figure that is in front of it. I just want to show us that at times you might be trying to do some if, and you might discover that what you thought is in the box may not actually be the actual thing that is there. It can be something that is different. So before you want to do some if, first of all, test it. Is this thing I want to use, is it the same thing that is here? First of all, test it to be sure that your answer that you're going to get will be accurate. Because if the answer that you are going to get will not be accurate, then, so you can see that here, I thought this is the same thing that is here. So if I use my sum if will not be able to sum information that relates to this thing. So, and I told us that when you're using sum if, those things they are usually very sensitive. You make sure that your spellings are correct. Make sure that all those things are the same. So here it's telling us that even when we have X0002, it's not the same as what we have over here. So that is what it's telling us. So let's say Ctrl Z, 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 Ctrl Z. Yeah, so I just needed to show us that so that we are aware and we understand why we are doing what we are doing. We are testing to be sure. So most times they use this thing. So, even if numbers are in the box, you can see use numbers like a text. So now they are checking. Is this thing exactly the same thing that is here? It says it's the same thing. Is this thing exactly the same thing that is here? It says no, it's not the same. So let's check what is wrong. Okay, to me, I cannot see what is wrong. Well, let me check. Let me double click. Let me now shift it to the beginning. Okay, enter. Let me also come here. Let me double click. Let me check. And shift it to the beginning. Okay, enter. You can see. So before this thing, there was a space. When you come inside here like this, they probably shift on space. So there's a space here. Why this one, there was no space. There was no space. This thing was exactly on the wall. But if I put a space now, it will also show that it's true. Yeah, you see that? So now it means that you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful. In a space, when you're typing, make sure that if you leave a space, for the fact that you have left a space, even if you are typing school there, you leave a space before you type school, and the other place you did not leave a space before you type school, it will not see catch it that is the same thing. It will be telling us that it's something different. So you must take note of that, why it was looking different, right? So that is what was making it look different. Do I have, are we together? Are we together? Do we understand how to use our exact? Are we together? Do we understand how to use exact? Are we still on the call? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So that is how to use exact. Let's try something else. We are done with exact, and I believe there's no question from that. I believe we all got it right. So let's now check for match. Match. So what is match? So match, the function name is also match. and it is a lookup function. Just like if you know your VLOOKUP, you know your HLOOKUP, you are good to go. So now the next one is to say returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches a specified value in a specified order. It also flags those not in the list as not allowed. Okay, so it returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches a specified value in a specified order. It also flags those not in the list as not allowed. So let's quickly come and check over here, right? Let's check over here. So I think we should have a formula somewhere. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so original list of concluded work record. Then here we have received lists of concluded work effort. So received list, original list, and here we want to now use the match. So just like the way we normally do our lookup, right? HLOOKUP or VLOOKUP. So you always say equal to, just like we normally say, we say equal to, right? We say equal to, we now say match. We say match, right? When we say match, we now open a bracket. What do you want to use to go and use to match something on the other data sheet? Want to use this work code. Is the work code we want to use to match? Then we now press our comma. Then we now go and select the data range as we normally do. Go and select the data range as we normally do. So come to the data range, select the data range as we normally do. Then what do you want to match? Now want to match the code, the work code, right? Want to match the work code. So when you have selected the data range, right, you now put a comma. And don't also forget that for your data range, we normally use we normally lock it by making it absolute reference, right? So we now put a comma, right? We put a comma. So when we put a comma, the next thing we want to do is that we want to lock this thing. Let's overall lock it first. Let's lock the data range. So I come here, I press F4. Okay, F4 locks it. I come here again, I press F4. F4 also locks it. So the next thing you want to do is that you put a comma. Then what you want to match? You want to see that this workforce, is it the same thing that we have over here, right? Is it the same thing that we have over here, right? So this P, whatever, is it the same that we have? So when you're now, you know that when you're counting this thing, you want to count where is this our workforce. Workforce, this thing is how many column? The first thing to ask yourself is, this thing obviously is on 2 columns. This is not on rows. This is actually on columns. So this is column 1, this is column 2. So it's on 2 columns. So where do we want to match it? We want to match P001. We want to match it to P001. So it's on column 1. So when we put the comma, we now put 1. We put 1, and then we close our column. Then we click on enter. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, I made a mistake. But I thought I selected this thing before. I'm coming. Let me check. Here. Uh-oh. F8. Okay. I did not remember I put. Okay. Okay. When did I put F8 and F2? F8 and F2. Okay. Let me redo this thing. Okay. Let me redo this thing. So, let me redo this thing. So I come here like this. I say equal to, and I say match. I open brackets. Then I say I want to match this thing. This is what I want to match, right? Then I put a comma. Then I go and select the data range. The data range is from here, like this, like this, like this. Yes. So what do I want to match? I want to match. Okay. So I want to match. Let me now put a comma. I'll put a comma like this. Then, so when you put a comma like that, when you're using match, 1 is equal to less than, 0 is equal to exact match, then -1 is equal to greater than. So when you use match, you want to say less than. Okay. 1, you want to say less than. 0, you want to say exact match. Then -1, you want to say greater than. So when we look at these, then we put we put 1. Let's say we want to put 1, that is less than, okay? 1 less than, then we close our bracket. So they say that finds the largest value that is less than or equal to VLOOKUP array. Okay, that's less than or equal to VLOOK or lookup value. Lookup array must be placed in ascending order. So now, once we are done with that, the next one to do is I want to now close the box. But before we do this, right, we want to make sure that this our stuff, we actually lock it. So we want to lock it. We press our F4. What's going on? What's going on? So here, we want to press our F4 here. We want to press our F4 here. We want to lock it so that when we autofill, we can also get the answer we want to get, F4 as well. So that's fine. Yeah, so that's it. Then when we got there, we now press enter. So now it's telling that it's not allowed. Let's now come back to our sheet. From our sheet here now, they told us that they say returns, right? Returns the relative position. Returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches a specified value in a specified order. It also flags those not in the list as not allowed. As not allowed. Okay, let's continue working. Let's do one more. Let's come here. Let's now autofill now. Let's click on autofill. Everything is saying not allowed, not allowed, not allowed, not allowed. Why is it saying not allowed? Oh, I'm coming to okay, let's try something. Let's now put like exact match. Let's put 2. Let's put 0. I think 0 should be exact match. Yeah, so 0 is exact match. Let's click on enter. Okay, then let's put oh yeah, this is 0 I put here, so that is exact match. Then let me put -1. Let's see, -1. So this is not giving what I want. It's not giving what I want. So we will come back to this later. Okay, we come back to this our match later. So it's not giving what I want yet, but let's come to this other one. Yeah, so this is another area that I feel that we should know. So the last time we've looked at Popper, what it does is that if you check for a certain name, like a noun, so a noun, naturally, the names of people, names of places, the dates of the Monday, the month of the year, January, February, all those things should start with capital letter. So anytime you type anything, when you use proper will ensure that the first letter of that thing has a capital letter and every other thing will become small letter. So here, let's just come here and say equal to. We say equal to, then we now say proper, P-E-R. We open a bracket, right? When we open a bracket, then we now want to select our, okay, that is H. Okay, so let's leave that first. Let's leave that. Okay, so it's actually working on what we did in our H. So let's start from the first one. This is uppercase. To get uppercase also, just say equal to uppercase, then select what you want to select and you click on enter and you change it to uppercase. So let's try that. So in case you have something in lower case, right? Like small letters, then you want to make everything uppercase, you can do that. In case you have something in capital letter and you want to make it smaller case, you can also achieve that by using equal to upper, then open bracket, select the data. Or you can say equal to lower, open bracket, select the data, and click on enter. You're going to get it as lowercase. So let's come here. Let's click. We want to turn all these things now. All these things, we want to turn them to uppercase. Just come here now. Just say equal to. We now say upper. When you say upper, you open your bracket. Then you select what you want to turn to uppercase. You close your bracket and press enter. So automatically you can see. Yeah, now this is now still sheet. Let's now make everything lowercase. We're not equal to lower. Lower, we open our bracket. Then we also select what we want to turn to lower. Then we close our bracket, we press enter. And look at it. Here is, we make it uppercase. Here we made it, everything was lowercase. Then here we want to now make it proper. The first letter is going to become the first letter will be capital letter and others will be small letters. So let's close it and let's click on enter. So you can see here now. So this is proper. Proper now, what it does is that it ensures that the first letters are going to be capital letter, while others are going to be small letters. So that is what we did. The first one, we turn this thing from here, we turn it to uppercase. We take it from here also from uppercase, we take it back to lowercase. Then from lowercase, we now make sure that the first letter from the two things are actually what's the word? Are actually uppercase. So what we want to do, we want to now select everything and autofill. We select everything, we double tap. And that is how we're able to get all these things that are here. Any question? Does anybody have any question? So this is how to change something to uppercase, how to change something to lowercase, and how to change something to proper case. Proper case is that case that it's gonna make the first letter to be capital, while others are going to be small letters. So let me see if we're still on the call. Fine. So we are still on the call. So I hope we are noting those areas that I said we are still going to come back to. And another one is that using is it March? Let me check. Yeah, so using March, we're still going to come back to it. We'll be able to get exact. We understand it very well. So we're coming back to March, right? Because it's not giving me what I want yet. I'll still check it again. We have done this one and it's fine by us. Let's come here. We are almost done with this, our sheet. So here, now we have what we call learn. So learn, so text returns the number of character in a text string. Returns the number of character in a text string. So what it makes use of is text, right? So we now come over here. So we're going to say equal to learn. So let's come in and let's say equal to learn. We open our bracket and we select this. You close your bracket and press enter. So what this one does is that it come and count the numbers of letters that are here, right? In a situation whereby they might tell you that you should type something, it should not be more than let's say 500 words, right? So you just use equal to learn, right? Select the data and equal to learn, select the data, press enter, and it's going to count the total letter that are there. So let's try and see if we can use it across the total. Okay, let's do for this one also. Ctrl D. So this is 14. The year Ctrl D. This is 7. The next thing we want to do, we want to count everything. Let's say equal to learn. We open our bracket, then let's come and select all the data from year to year. Let's count everything. We close our bracket and we enter. So it's not allowing us to do that. So it means that therefore you can only do it in a sheet. And don't forget that whenever you have a column here, column may mean different things. So let's delete this. So you can only do this for anything inside one box at a time. one box at a time, one box at a time. So we can count it separately and we can get what we want to achieve. So that's how to use len. Len is used to count the letters in a cell, letters in a cell, letters in a cell. So that's how to use len. So we looked at upper, how to get uppercase, how to get lowercase, how to get proper case. Let's now look at the next one, which is left. Left. Okay, left. So left now, that's the function name. Left returns the first characters or characters in a text string based on the number of character you specify. So it will return the first. So you can tell it that, okay, return so numbers of character, right? So let's try and check. Okay, so here you can see here, this is what you're going to do. You want to tell it, this is what I want you to return. Return only the first three character to the left. So let's now come here. When I say equal to, you now say left. You open your brackets. You select this thing. So how many letters do you want to select? Do you want to get to the left? Want to get the last three letters to the left. We'll now press 3. We close our bracket. I will click on enter. So what you do to the left, it gives you to the right, right? So the first 3. So when you say left, oh yeah, that's left actually. Sorry, I'm saying right. That is left actually. So and that is what left is. So this is left, and this is right. Okay, so that's why you got 3 letters to the left, right? So if you also want to do for this one, you can also Control D, and you're going to get this. You can also Control D, and you're going to get this. So in case you have some words, and then you want to abbreviate them, you don't want to just start typing. You want to start typing them, okay, because you have like a practice, you have accountant, you have, and you just want to abbreviate all of them, right? Just say equal to left. You select where the data is. Then how many letters you want to see? How many letters do you want to use for your operation? Let's say you want to use just 3 letters. So you're going to return to you 3 letters from the left, which is what we have done over here. So let's now move further. The next one is right, right? So yeah, they now say that right returns the first characters or characters in a text string based on the numbers of characters you specify. So this one now is going to give you from the right, not from the left now. So let's come over here. The same formula, equal to right, equal to right. When you say right, you open your bracket, you select where the data is. Then how many letters to the right do you need? Let's say you need 4. You put 4, you close your bracket, you press enter, and then you can see it's giving us the first letter to the right, which we can also adopt for every other one. We can adopt for every other one. And that is how we're able to get that. Any question? Is there any question? Can we move on? I want to get a feedback from us. Can we move on? We have 8 minutes more anyway. We have 8 minutes more. So let's stop the class here. Let's take questions in case there are any questions that we don't understand. Most of the things that we did today, they all look like they're easy, but if we don't continue to practice them, one good thing is that, or one surprising thing is that something can look very easy, right? But if you don't, because you are underrating, or will I say you are overlooking, or what is the word to use, you might discover that that thing that you feel is very easy, if care is not taken, you can easily forget it. And as easy as that thing seems, because you did not prioritize it or did not pay attention to it, you can forget how to get that thing done. So I think the best thing to do is that you need to constantly practice. Practice makes perfect. Are we together?
Yes, sir, we're together.
Okay, so that is that. With that being said, I believe there's no question from anybody. I believe we can call it a day for today. Okay, so let's call it a day for today. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. And do have a lovely night rest.